Hey guys, it's Rob here, and today I'm going to be showing you some stretches that you can do standing behind your desk. It's so important that we take standing breaks throughout our workday, preferably once an hour if possible, to curb some of the long-term effects from sitting for long periods. Today we're going to be focusing on specific areas in the body that become tight and tense from working at a desk and on a computer for long periods. So let's get started. If you're not standing, please stand already. Or if you're not standing already, please stand now. With your feet about hip width apart, try to relax the shoulders. Take a moment to connect with your breath. Let's focus on a couple of nice long inhales and exhales just to connect with our body before we invite movement. Okay, we're gonna start with shoulder rolls. So let's roll the shoulders up towards the ears, glide them back, and then down. And if we like to strengthen that connection with our breath, or between our breath and our body, we could focus on inhaling as the shoulders rise, and then exhaling as they fall. Nice deep inhale as the shoulders rise, and exhale as they fall. Let's do two more like that. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. Okay, now 3 times reverse direction. Roll the shoulders forward. Here we're massaging the upper trapezius, also moving our humerus, the glenohumeral joint, promoting some circulation in the shoulder joint. Okay. Next we're going to do side bends on each side to stretch out our obliques and our side body. It also helps decompress the low back, so it's really great to do side bends if you're experiencing low back pain. Just be sure that you enter it gently, so don't force yourself too deep into the position. Take it nice and slow and follow my lead. Let's inhale, interlace the fingers, and then exhale as you rise. Get nice and long, from toes out through the fingers, and then reach across to the left. And really it's this arm that's reaching, extending up for the ceiling and the sidewall. We're getting nice and long all the way from underneath the arm, down the side of the ribs, the side of our trunk, torso, to the hip. And come back through center. I like to bend in the middle and reset, and then come over on the other side, same thing. Reach. Nice and long. We're trying to make this space long here. This space. Extend out through the hand. Reach through the fingertips. And then come back through center. Okay, let's invite some movement into our arms and the shoulder joints. Swing our arms overhead and behind us a few times. We'll loosen up the arms. It's also just kind of fun doing this. You could even do alternating sides. Kind of feel like this is what swimming would look like without the water. Very good. Okay, our next stretch is going to be something I've called Cactus Rolls. It involves articulation at the shoulder joint and the scapulothoracic joint, which is where our scapular shoulder blades meet the back of our rib cage and our spine. So let's start with 90-degree angle at each elbow. And I call these cactus rolls because I think I look like a cactus when I stand like this. Let's roll the elbows forward in front of the shoulders, and then roll them back and open across the front of the shoulders and the chest, getting a nice stretch across our chest. I'm going to show you the side angle here as I roll the elbows back in front of the shoulders. You can see I'm rounding through my upper back and then arching as I pull the elbows back at my side body or even a little bit behind. It's almost like doing a standing cat-cow with articulation at the shoulder joint. So roll, open. Here as the elbows roll forward, we're stretching the muscles around the scapula, the rhomboids, the mid-trap, even the rear deltoid behind the shoulders. And then as we pull the elbows back, we're stretching across the anterior deltoid, the front of the shoulders, and the chest, an area that gets really tight and tense from working on a computer for long periods. Let's reverse direction now. Roll the elbows in the opposite direction. 2 more. Very good. Woo, shake it out. Okay, next we're gonna stretch the back of our neck. So let's tuck our chin down to our chest, roll the chin over to the right armpit, grab the left hand behind the back, gently pull down towards the floor. So you can see what I'm doing behind my back here. I've got my left wrist in my right hand, and I'm just giving a gentle tug down towards the floor, lengthening again my upper trapezius on the left side. You can release that, roll the chin over to the other side, and repeat with the chin tucked towards the left armpit and the right wrist in the left hand. Gently pulling that right hand down towards the floor. And then release that. And when you're ready, look back up in front of you. Okay, next we're going to do a standing move that's used to improve posture, typically done up against a wall. They're called wall angels, but you can adopt this without a wall. You can do this just standing. Start with your hands in a Y position, and then draw your elbows down and back towards your back pockets. Squeeze the muscles around your shoulder blades and under your armpits to pull those elbows down and back, and then lift the arms back up overhead without raising the shoulders up towards the ears. So keep the shoulders away from the ears so that just the arms are moving. The shoulders are not lifting up. What this does is it activates a lot of the muscles that lie dormant if we are placed in a poor posture throughout our day. And by activating these muscles, we can will our body back into a more upright position. And why poor posture is common, a lot of people who work sitting on a computer all day is because of the position that working at a keyboard puts our body in. It's not natural, and it's important that we do some exercises to curb the long-term effects. Let's do one more of these YWs. Pull the elbows down and back, and then drop the hands behind the back. We're gonna go right into our next move. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Lift the chest up towards the corner of the wall in front of you. Kind of up towards the ceiling on a 45-degree angle. You can lift your gaze in that direction as well. I'm always looking up, kind of where the wall and the ceiling intersect, the corner of the wall and the ceiling that's in front of me. And then if you want, try to pull the hands away from your back body. That'll just intensify the stretch across your chest and in front of your shoulders. Now from this position, I'd like to stay here for a little bit longer. Let's drop the ear down to the right shoulder, keeping the chin pointed forward. We get a nice stretch in the front of the neck. Let's come back through center, switch to the other side. Back through center and release the hands. Sometimes the hands can get a little numb and tingly in that position. Let's shake them out for a second because that's fun. Okay, next we're gonna open up space around our shoulder blades with a nice stretch for our mid upper back. Let's cross either hand onto opposite shoulders. Raise the elbows to about shoulder height, and then push the elbows out away from your shoulders and drop your head down to your forearms. Now actively think about pushing the elbows away. Open that space around your shoulder blades. Should feel a nice stretch between your shoulder blades and your spine. We're getting into the rhomboids here in the mid-trapezius. Again, we hold a lot of tension here. Very common for people to experience knots and tightness in this area. And release. Good job. Next, we're going to work into our forearms a little bit. These get very tight with all the typing, texting, clicking that we do throughout our day. Maybe even writing. I don't know. Do people still write? I'm not sure. But if you write a lot, you might get some cramping in your hand and your forearms. So let's start by pressing our hands against one another at chest height. Now we're going to slowly lower the bottom of our hands down towards our belt line while keeping that pressure between the hands and keeping the fingers pointed up to the ceiling. The further towards the floor that your hands travel, the more intense the sensation is going to become on your forearms here, your flexors, your forearm flexors, or your wrist flexors, my mistake. Once you feel a good amount of tension there, pause and hold the stretch. You don't want to enter into an area where you're experiencing pain. And if your hands start to separate, it means you've gone too far. Just back it up a little bit. Next, we're going to do everyone's favorite style of push-up. We don't have to go down to the floor. All we have to do is flip our fingers towards the floor. We're going to do a finger push-up. Keep your finger pads connected. Press the palms of your hand towards and away from one another. We're getting a nice stretch in all our little finger muscles here. This is a great one to do. You can do this seated. If you feel some tension or discomfort in your hands when you're working at your keyboard all day, it's a great stretch to use as a little break, a little pause. Okay, let's shake that out. Very good. I'd like to get into the hips a little bit too. So we're going to do a stretch for our hip flexors. Our hip flexors are put in a shortened position all day. The hip flexor runs to the front of the hips here. We're put in a shortened position all day when we sit with our legs like this. So over time, the muscle itself shortens, becomes tight. That's why we might feel a lot of tight stiffness in and around our hips. So a good stretch for the hip flexor that we can do standing is a high lunge from yoga. So you're going to take a hip width stance with your feet staggered, slight bend in the front leg. I'm going to turn this way so you can see. It's not very much, just a 45-degree bend. The back leg stays straight. You're going to settle into your hips. Try to roll your pelvis under, like I'm doing here, to lengthen the hip flexor on the right side. And then we can create length up the front of our body by lifting our arms overhead and holding in this position. From here, another variation I like to add to this position is connecting the hands in front of the heart and then twisting whatever side the leg is leading with. So my left leg is in front here, I'm twisting to the left. Leading with the chest. This changes the line of pull on the hip and accesses a different hip flexor than just reaching straight up. Let's come back through the center and switch to the other side. Same thing on this side. We go through our checklist, 45-degree bend in the front knee, roll the pelvis under, tuck it under. You could do that also by thinking about squeezing the left glute, and then reach the arms up overhead. Once you've held this for a few seconds, connect the hands in front of the heart space and twist to the right this time. Come back through center, step your feet together. Okay, that was a short series of stretches that I think hit most of the problem areas from sitting for long periods of time. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to replay this video anytime you feel like you've been sitting too much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.